What's happening around the world and what's happening here at home? A very good evening to and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandra Ferdinando.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara, and here are your headlines for tonight.
Central Bank reports that the country's economy has started to recover. Multiple factions oppose the proposed electricity bill.
900 megawatt power plant එකේ 100 ගාණක් කවුරු හරි ගත්තොත් ඔහුට ඇතිවන්නා වූ ආර්ථික හයිය.
Russian and Indian management for Mattala International Airport. US Under Secretary for Trade and Foreign Agricultural Affairs meets President. Ulapane Sumangala Thera and 4 others granted bail.
Starting off with news here at home, Tiranalas, the Minister of Public Security, has asserted that the ongoing investigations substantiated the failure of relevant departments to take preventive action with regard to the 2019 Easter Sunday terror attacks, despite having received accurate information.
Now, the minister made this statement during his concluding speech at the 3-day parliamentary debate on the Easter Sunday terror attacks and its investigative proceedings. Notably, his address revealed that several crucial facts related to the attack that had remained undisclosed.
The 3-day parliamentary debate concerning the terrorist attack that occurred on April 21, 2019, targeting 6 locations, including 3 churches and the 3 hotels, concluded today. In connection with this attack, multiple investigative commissions were convened and parliamentary discussions were held. Throughout the 3-day debate, recurring themes included opinions expressed in various articles and the presentation of findings. In his address today, Minister of Public Security Tiranalas responded to numerous questions related to these matters.
The commission report in its entirety was given to His Eminence. There were recommendations made preventing the disclosure of certain sections. Despite that, the report in its entirety was given to His Eminence, requesting that the content not be given to the media. I'm stating that there is no support. Let us consider all the facts and conclude this. This is about the murder of 2 police officers in Vaunathiu. The CID had been informed about who did it. It is claimed that the military intelligence fed them with false information. Abdul Latif Jamil was gearing up to detonate the suicide vest at the Taj Samudra Hotel. At that time, he had received a phone call. Based on the records and the CCTV footage, it is believed that the phone call may have been made by his wife. So when Jamil was staying at the Taj on the 20th and 21st, his name was given to intelligence services and the President's Security Division. This is from the testimony of a hotel security officer. At the Shangri-La Hotel, we had to physically visit the site to determine who was present. They did not send the guest list to us. It has come to light that a person called Abu Hind had maintained contact with suicide bombers Mohammad Qasim Mohammad Zaran, Adu Hodeira, Abnu Masoodi via an app called Trima. He has not been physically identified. Based on the mechanism adopted by intelligence agencies in other countries, it can be determined that this person may have been placed within this network by an overseas intelligence wing in order to extract intelligence material. The people want to know whether Zahran led this attack or whether information was obtained from him. It is important to expose Abu Hind. We request for those people to be investigated. I do not think it is possible. There is a person placed there for Foreign Intelligence Service extraction information. I cannot promise that I will expose it. We cannot do it here or any other country. The intelligence service had addressed a letter to the police chief copied to senior DIG Ravi Senviratne. It was hand-delivered on the 9th of that month that year. The letter contains all the information including the targets and attackers. The letter delivered on the 9th only leaves an ASP office on the 19th with a signature of a SDIG. The letter goes to the director's office on the 22nd, and this is the day after the attacks. This is what happened there.
ඒ කියන්නේ බෝම්බේ පිපිරිච්ච දාට පහුවදා. ඉතින් ඒකයි එතන වෙලා තිබුණේ.
සියලු තොරතුරු තිබ්බ කියන එක සම්බන්ධයෙන් ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක් නොගත්තටත් කවුරුත් වැඩිකාරයෙක් වෙලා නැද්ද?
ඒක ගැනත් මේ තාම මේ විමර්ශනේ මේ කරුණු.
An investigation is underway. Some officers have already retired. We have to look into it. International assistance was also obtained for the investigations related to the Easter Sunday terror attacks. They are Interpol, Australian Federal Police, FBI and Scotland Yard. Their final report was sent to the CID. The opposition leader in his comments referred to a note placed by the police officer named Ratnakumara at the Galanigama checkpoint. The officer had noted that the lorry was inspected and there was nothing inside apart from fish. This was the note added on that day. I have mentioned this before. If there is so-called mastermind behind this, that person will be arrested irrespective of position or status. I will not hesitate to do that. Maithripala Sirisena made a statement. He had given a statement to the CID. I can only inform the House that Maithripala Sirisena had not made a comment with regard to a citizen of this country or a connection to a citizen of this country. As investigations are underway, I cannot divulge further information. I would like to inform the House that none of the investigative reports have revealed any connection between SIS Director Suresh Sali had with Zahran. A commission was also appointed to investigate the claims made by Channel 4. That report will be released and the House will be able to determine if those claims are true or false.
එම වාර්තාව ඉදිරියේදී නිකුත් කිරීමෙන් පසු එම චෝදනා සත්‍යද නැත්ද යන්න මේ සභාවට දැනගන්නට හැකියාව පවතී.
SJB's Ranjit Madhuma Bandara opened the debate.
The Malalgoda report was presented and it was never looked into. A Parliament Select Committee was appointed. The report of that committee was also never looked in. What did the government do? They remanded Shani Abesekara, who led the investigations. Ravi Senaviratne, who also led the investigation, was removed from the investigation body. This is a conspiracy. It was well known that Gotabaya Rajapaksa did not have the votes from the north and east prior to the 2019 elections. This conspiracy was hatched to prevent the flow of the Catholic votes. I once served as the Minister of Law and Order. It was vacated following the 52-day government conspiracy. By doing so, the probe was taken over by the former president and his government.
No one is making any allegation against those who executed these attacks. However, they are blaming former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. These attacks have been politicized. I would like to respectfully request that the Archbishop and the diocese not lose the respect they have for the Catholic community. No one can say that the Intelligence Services, Security Council and Defence Minister were not aware of the attacks. The Intelligence Services had relayed the information. In recent times, it has been claimed that these attacks were executed to make Gotabaya Rajapaksa the president. That is a good tale to tell the kids.
Allegations have been made against His Eminence the Cardinal. His Eminence the Cardinal has made his comments known after conducting the necessary inquiries. His observations are that Gotabaya used Sirisena. Saleh and the gang committed treachery and hatched a conspiracy. In order to execute the next power change, Sirisena is Wickramasinghe and the Rajapaksas. In order to bring about a change in power, they are attempting to draw in geopolitical developments and trying to pin this on India as well.
21 වෙනිදා බෝම්බේ පුපුරනන කවුද පොලිස් රාජ්‍ය ඇමති මේ රටේ පොලිස් රාජ්‍ය ඇමති නලින් බණ්ඩාර මම පොලිසිය බාර නියෝජ්‍ය ඇමති නෙමෙයි ඕන්නම් ඔය ඉන්න සනත් පොල් දෙක මහත්තයන් අහන්න මෛත්‍රීපාල උන්නේ අයින් කරා ඔබතුමා පක්ෂපාතී වෙන්න එපා සෙන්කෝල උස්සයනවා සෙන්කෝල උස්සයනවා මේ ඇමතිවරු හිටපු ආණ්ඩුවේ
The MSD of their government on the 10th of April sent a message to my chief ministerial security officers to provide security to VIPs, citing such an incident. We have seen the effects of what you and Ranjit Bandara have done as police ministers. You two need to be prosecuted.
එල්ලන්න ඕනේ මේ දෙන්න. ඒ කාලකන්ණි ආණ්ඩුවේ අගමැතිවරයා තමයි දැන් ජනාධිපතිවරයා කරගෙන වැඳගෙන ඉන්නේ මෙයා. මෙයා වඳින්නේ පේල් වෙච්ච වැඩේ කරේ තියන්න එන්න එපා අපේ කරේ. මේ එදා සිද්ධිය වෙනකොට රජිත් මද්දුම් බණ්ඩ වරත් නලින් බණ්ඩාරත් මේ පොලිස් ඇමතිකම් වල හිටියේ නෑ.
The date, time and targets of the attacks were clearly mentioned, yet nothing was done. The Security Council has not convened for 2 months. The then Defence Minister Maithripala Sirisena was in Singapore when the attacks took place. The time over there was 12:30 p.m. He said he was there for a medical checkup. Was he undergoing an embalming process to be subject to a medical checkup there? Why couldn't he return at that moment?
These Sunday attacks took place during the election period in India. The day after the attacks, the BJP had a meeting in Goa, India. It was at this meeting the leader of the BJP made a strong worded statement that the fate that befell the Sri Lankan Catholics would not be the fate of the Indian Catholics. It may be because of that he received a high number of Catholic votes from Goa. However, the Sri Lankan election results do not speak of such a tale. It means that despite the Easter Sunday attack, the numbers of votes from Negombo, where a large number of Catholics live, did not fall for Gotabaya Rajapaksa. 53% of the votes in that area were secured by the SJB's Sajid Premadasa. The argument brought forth claiming that the Easter Sunday attacks were perpetrated to select the next president of the country. It is not valid. However, the Easter Sunday attacks had an impact on Indian elections.
ගෝඨාභය මහත්මයා ඡන්දේ දිනලා ඒ පොරොන්දු ඉෂ්ට නොකරපු නිසා දැන් ඡන්ද දෙන්න එපා කියනකොට කදේශ
Gotabaya won the election and failed to fulfill the promises. So now, when it claimed not to vote, you call it politicization. A ruling party member referred to the cardinal as an insane person. What would have happened if these attacks took place at temples? The country would still be on fire. Despite churches being in attacks, His Eminence the Cardinal preached compassion to the congregation. He did not instruct anyone to attack mosques and commit murder. It was His Eminence who created harmony at that time. The ruling faction is terming such a person as insane. The people of this country understand who is in fact insane.
පාණ්ඩු පක්ෂයේ උදවිය පිස්සෙක් කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒතර පිස්සා කවුද කියලා ලංකා මිනිස්සුන්ට පේනවා. පැහැදිලිව කියනවා සමහර අය ඉන්නවා. දැන් මේක මේ
There are some who are trying to blame this on India. That is a blatant lie. If India relayed this information and if the state intelligence services also communicated intel from time to time, who ignored those warnings and why? Who are the military intelligence personnel who nurtured these extremists and held contact with them? Who paid them? These need to be investigated. Do not simply blame the cardinal and Catholic community.
ඒගොල්ලන්ට පඩි ගැව්වේ කවුද? මෙන්න මේව හොයන්න ඕන. කාදිනල් තුමාට බැනලා කතෝලික ජනතාවට බැනලා ඒව කරලා වැඩක් නැහැ.
මම එකතකින් කනගාටු වෙනවා. පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරය ගැන මම ආందోලනාත්මක ප්‍රකාශයක් කිරීම නිසා තමයි අදට
It is because I made a controversial statement on the Easter Sunday attacks that still we are discussing those events. I will never insult His Eminence the Cardinal. Yet he continues to drag me into this based on politics. I do not know why he is doing so. They were afraid to speak out when Gotabaya Rajapaksa was in power. We spoke out. Gotabaya at one point said, "Who is hurrying to me? A person who killed the tigers." Some people rise up when they hear the word Easter attacks. They try to use it for elections. I will not withdraw any of my comments made back then.
හැබැයි මුලසුන ඔබට මන්ත්‍රීතුමනි ඒ කට ඇරියේ තැනදී මම ආයෙත් කියනවා මම ඒ කිසිම එදා කියපු වචනයක් අහක් කරගන්නේ නැහැ.
The US Undersecretary for Trade and Foreign Agricultural Affairs visited Sri Lanka today and called on the President. Alexis Taylor, Undersecretary for Trade and Foreign Agricultural Affairs at the U.S. Department of Agriculture, together with U.S. Ambassador Julie Chung, met with Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe and other senior government officials to discuss USDA support for Sri Lanka's agricultural sector. Undersecretary Taylor's visit underscored the American people's ongoing commitment to supporting the agricultural development and economic growth of Sri Lanka, promoting greater food security and enhancing resilience against climate challenges. The Undersecretary's discussions affirmed that Sri Lanka's key role as a priority country in the 2024 Food for Progress initiative, which focuses on enhancing food security and climate resilience through environmentally friendly practices and improved market linkages. A primary focus was the ongoing $27.5 million market-oriented dairy project, which has helped improve milk productivity for over 15,000 dairy farmers in Sri Lanka, with many reporting doubling production thanks to the project. Additionally, since 2018, the USDA's McGovern-Dole project, implemented by Save the Children in partnership with the Ministry of Education, has provided daily meals to close to 100,000 Sri Lankan primary school children throughout the country. Building on this success, USDA embarked on a new 5-year, $32.5 million project expansion to further boost school meal provisions across 8 districts, including Badulla, Colombo, Kilinochchi, Monragala, Mullaitivu, Nuwara, Ratnapura and Trincomalee. The project now aims to provide meals to close to 200,000 students covered under Sri Lanka's National School Meal Programme.
According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the country's economy experienced a 2.3% contraction in the past year. This revelation comes from the recently published annual economic review of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The Newsfirst Finance Report has all the details.
The Newsfirst Finance Report.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka released its inaugural annual economic review and financial statements and operations of the central bank for the year 2023. The report was presented to President Ranil Wickremesinghe by the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Dr. Nandalal Weerasinghe. The Sri Lankan economy witnessed a gradual revival in 2023 from the deepest economic downturn in its post-independence history. Decisive policy adjustments and structural reforms implemented by the government and the central bank helped restore macroeconomic stability to a great extent despite the short-run hardships faced by economic stakeholders. The report says that these measures were essential to prevent further deepening of the crisis and to navigate the economy along a sustainable path of recovery. In the tumultuous year of 2022, Sri Lanka's economy faced significant challenges, contracting by 7.3% and plunging into instability. By the third and fourth quarters of 2023, the tide turned. According to the central bank report, economic growth was once again achieved. The staggering inflation rate of 69.8% in 2022 has been tamed, receding to nearly 5% in 2023. The report emphasizes that the sky-high interest rates prevailing in 2023 have now been restored to more normal levels. Encouragingly, export earnings, remittances from expatriate workers and tourism revenues all experienced growth in 2023 compared to the preceding year. Sri Lanka's gross official reserves, which stood at a modest $1.9 billion at the start of 2022, surged to a robust $4.4 billion by the year end. The value of the American dollar underwent a significant shift. Starting at 363 rupees and 11 cents in early 2023, it concluded the year at 323 rupees and 92 cents. As a percentage of the GDP, the government's income witnessed a commendable rise. From 8.4% in 2022, it escalated to 11.1% by the close of 2023. The central bank's report also highlights prudent fiscal management. The central government debt, which loomed at 114.2% of GDP in 2022, was successfully trimmed down to 103.9% in 2023. The economic progression witnessed in the latter half of 2023 is expected to continue in the years ahead, supported by the continuation of the reform agenda under the International Monetary Fund's Extended Fund Facility arrangement. While a broad-based economic expansion is envisaged across all sectors, domestic price stability is expected to be preserved with greater independence and accountability of the central bank in monetary policy making and the prohibition of monetary financing of the government budget deficit. However, the formidable recovery of the Sri Lankan economy hinges on the continuity of the reforms implemented thus far, and as part of this process, the successful continuation of the IMF-EFF arrangement and completion of the debt restructuring process remain paramount. Since the country has not fully exited the crisis, there is no space available for any slippages from the committed path. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya announced that in the first quarter of this year, state revenue has reached an impressive 834 billion rupees. This achievement not only surpasses the projected revenue but also indicates a growth of 6%. The State Minister emphasized that with prudent financial management and a consistent revenue pattern, 2024 promises to be a year where revenue targets can be successfully attained. In comparing recurring expenses between the first quarters of 2020 and 2024, there has been a substantial increase of 35% in the latter period. Notably, there's a significant surge of 114% in loan interest repayment and a noteworthy uptake of 60% in capital expenditure. Furthermore, the capital repayment of public debt has escalated by 177%, indicating substantial financial commitments.
The News First Finance Report.
The Frontline Socialist Party asserts that the recently proposed electricity bill, which was submitted to Parliament, was crafted by India. Pubudu Jayagada, the party's education secretary, highlighted that the language within the draft substantiates this claim.
What is the Sri Lanka electricity bill? What amendments does it contain? After the passage of this bill, two existing acts, the Ceylon Electricity Board Act No. 17 of 1969 and the Sri Lanka Electricity Act No. 20 of 2009 will be repealed. The new bill proposes dividing the Ceylon Electricity Board into distinct parts. This arrangement allows the current activities of the Ceylon Electricity Board, currently a single entity, to be organized into 6 separate components. These 6 parts can then function as individual companies, each specializing in specific aspects of the electricity sector. The proposed division covers electricity generation, transmission, distribution, trading, supply and procurement. By restructuring the electricity bill in this manner, the government aims to foster new competitive investment opportunities within the energy sector.
Even though it is said fostering a competitive environment as the purpose of this, it is entirely motivated creating monopolies. 4 of the 7 members of the advisory council that is designed to give advice to the minister are appointed by the minister, and the chairman is also appointed by the minister. The minister gives the license in relation to everything. It is said that the transmission system of our country can be integrated with the transmission system of foreign countries. Although this refers to a foreign country, it actually means India. The country's security and economic sovereignty can all be destroyed when the on and off switch of the Sri Lanka power sector is with them. India has written this act. The English version of this act has text load dispatch in many places. There is no such thing as load dispatch anywhere in the world except in India's laws. It contains texts that are only used in India. After drafting this proposal for the private sector, they can bring forward a suggestion to raise electricity bills by 30%. Though we try to push back, they can present the numbers related to debt transport and so on, and the claim that the tariff will be increased by a certain amount of rupees. None will be able to oppose it. The bill also proposes a clause to institute legal against anyone, citing that an obstruction was made to the movement to increase the tariff. This is being sold to Adani for power generation. Then Adani can say they want to increase the tariff, but even we oppose it. The bill has been prepared in a manner that benefits the company.
Several factions, including energy sector experts, contend that the proposed electricity bill jeopardizes the nation's sovereignty.
There is no opposition from the employees towards the restructuring process. Moreover, the trade unions of the Electricity Board advocate for the necessity of restructuring. It is acknowledged that transitioning to an electricity market is crucial for our future, but there are significant milestones to achieve along the way. However, our concern lies on whether this legislation accommodates that. Only the minister has the power, as per this legislation, to transition to a market. However, if the Electricity Board is divided into 12 companies with 4 distribution companies formed, they cannot be merged without ministerial approval. Without such legislation, the consequences for the country are concerning. This act contains numerous flaws. Despite the efforts of Electricity Board employees to rectify the bill, there hasn't been a single discussion granted with them. This invaluable asset of the nation, crafted and nurtured since 1968, boasting trillions in value, faces the ominous prospect of fragmentation. Is there a resolution to this looming dilemma? What is happening is applying medication somewhere else, while the wound is in someplace else. We must reject this bill. If we allow this bill to be passed, it would lead the country to a very bad place. If foreign forces can control our system, where is the sovereignty we speak of? Imagine what would happen if someone secures a stake in the 900 megawatt Norachuli power plant. There is no point in speaking about the country's sovereignty while such things happen.
900 megawatt power plant එකේ 100 ගාණක් කවුරු හරි ගත්තොත් ඔහුට ඇතිවන්නා වූ ආර්ථික හයිය. එහෙම ඉඩ දීලා රටේ ජාතික ස්වෛරීත්වය ගැන කතා කරන තේරුම් නැති වැඩක්.
According to Tilak Siyambalapitia, an expert in the field of electricity and energy, the proposed bill has significant implications.
tariff methodology එකකුත් තිබිලා ගැසට් එකේ තියෙන timetable එකකුත් තිබිලා
What would happen to the pricing when the tariff methodologies, tiered tables and differential pricing are amended at a time when the electricity tariff is not being reduced? The concern lies with who executes this process. There are certain phases included in this bill that I have never come across before. We are considered as a country, but this bill is from the government of Sri Lanka. International experts must be studying this already. They may be laughing at us for including such words.
නීති විශාරදයෝ මේක ස්ටඩි කරනවත් ඇති. ඉතින් එතකොට අපිට පොඩ්ඩක් ඒගොල්ලෝ කටකෝණකින් hina වෙනවා ඇති මේ වගේ වචන අපේ ගැටළු පත්‍ර දැම්මා.
Newsfirst with the people. When's the election?
As stipulated by the Constitution, this year marks an election year. Consequently, internal power struggles and candidate discussions within political parties are in abundant supply. Despite the passage of time, the crisis within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party remains unresolved. Today, various factions affiliated with the SLFP voiced their opinions on this matter.
Minister of Justice Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa was served a restraining order following his appointment as the acting chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Speaking in Kandy, Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa stressed that his appointment was in line with the constitutional provisions. After visiting the temple of Tooth Relic in Kandy, the Minister of Justice also called upon the Mahanayaka of the Malbata chapter of the Siam sect, the most venerable Tibbatubavi Sri Sumangala Thera.
116 members were presented and I was voted as the acting chairman. There was less than 10 who were against it. There are those who aligned themselves with another political faction. They are the ones obtaining court orders.
After calling upon the Mahanayaka Thera, the Minister of Justice spoke to the media.
ඔබතුමාට ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයෙන් ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා වෙන්න කිව්වොත් ඔබතුමා සෙනිකෝම මේ වත්මන් දරන ඇමති ධූර අත්හැරලා ඒ කටයුතු බාර ගන්න සූදානම්ද?
ඒ මොකක්ද හේතුව අත්හරින්න?
ඒතර ඔබතුමාගේ
අත්හරින්න හේතුව මොකක්ද?
මේ ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයෙක්
ඉතින් ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය කැබිනට් එකේ ඉන්නවනේ.
Why should I give up my position? There are representatives from both the SLFP and the SJB in the cabinet. Which party does not have representatives in the cabinet? There are MPs from the UNP as well. Who am I to do what others ask me to do? I am Vijayadasa Rajapaksa.
ඉතින් එක එක්කෙනාගේ විරුද්ධතාවය උඩ නටන්න මම පඹෙක්ද? මම රූකඩයක් නෙමෙයි. මම විජයදාස රාජපක්ෂ.
Everything will be done to remove the restraining orders in the future. A restraining order is a temporary restriction.
When's the election?
Dayasiri Jayasekara further addressed the ongoing party crisis during a media briefing today.
It has now reached a point where the party is destroyed. I believe it is crucial that the SLFP is handed over to a leader of the SLFP. The SLFP must be given the opportunity to get its work done. What has happened today is that both the factions are two factions of the government. Sometimes I believe that Ranil Wickremesinghe deliberately used Maithripala Sirisena and Nimal Siripala de Silva to destroy the party or bring it to a place where it cannot move forward. This is a big crisis. Maithripala Sirisena must be held responsible for this. If you look at each other and every step that was taken by him, the party's current state is a result of his decision making. It started with me. It began when I left the party.
When's the election?
The Samagi Jana Balawegya says any group that is ready to develop the country can join the party in developing the country.
It is you that casted your vote for them while you were earning for your families, claiming you are saving the country. You saw them stealing in broad daylight. How did their politics start? Where were they employed? It is you that brought in the whole family, the elder as president, the younger as prime minister, and then you question us asking why we blame you. It is you that brought this family into power, which resulted in the country going bankrupt. The only position of power that remained away from this family is the Diyawadana Nilame. We warned you not to bring them into power. The people of this country need to see if they are more disciplined. Do they possess good qualities? Why they changed parties, and whether it was for money or their benefits. See if it is a political policy. I advise you not to cast your votes to the ones who keep leaping from one place to another. Be wise, is what I have to tell you.
Venerable Ulapane Sumangalathera, the convener of the Teacher Principal Trade Union Collective, and 4 others were granted bail by Colombo Halstorf Additional Magistrate Pasan Amarasena today. Former Colombo Municipal Councillor Sunanda Liana Patirana, his wife, former Municipal Councillor Devika Matra Arachi, Samira Chaturanga and Pubudu Lakmal were among the others who were granted bail.
The magistrate set bail at 100,000 rupees for the first suspect, Samira Chaturanga, and 200,000 rupees each for the remaining 4 suspects, including Venerable Ulapane Sumangalathera. On the 22nd of April 2024, Venerable Ulapane Sumangalathera and 5 others were arrested in connection with an alleged incident of disobeying a court order and exerting pressure by presenting a minister's letter. Announcing the bail orders, the magistrate emphasized that any undue pressure on witnesses could lead to the cancellation of bail, resulting in remand custody. The case is scheduled to be called again on the 5th of August.
බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේ වික්ෂුන් වහන්සේලාට දේශනා කරලා තියෙනවා බහුජන හිතාය බහුජන සුඛාය බොහෝ දෙනාගේ මහජනතාවගේ හිතසුව පිණිස.
Lord Buddha has preached to the monks that they should work for the welfare of the masses, so they went on a tour and had to serve prison terms. We will not be shocked. We respect the judgment of the court. They say that they will do what needs to be done for the people of the country in the names of monks, and we have serious doubts about the functioning of the police. I hope to personally complain about it to the independent commissions in the future.
ස්වාධීන කොමිෂන් සභා ඉදිරියට පෞද්ගලිකව මම පැමිණිලි කරන්නට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
The Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal to establish a regulator for the energy sector. Accordingly, a committee was appointed to propose the draft framework for the energy sector regulator.
Sri Lanka's Cabinet of Ministers have given the green light to entrust the management of Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport to MS Shaurya Aeronautics Private Limited from India and the Airports of Regions Management Company from Russia or its affiliated enterprises. This management arrangement is set for a period of 30 years. During their meeting on January 9, 2023, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the solicitation of proposals from interested parties for utilizing the facilities at Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport. Subsequently, 5 institutions submitted their proposals in response to the call of expressions of interest.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa drew the attention of the Parliament regarding many unresolved problems faced by persons with disabilities.
Even though the allowance paid to the disabled community was raised to 7,500 from 5,000 rupees, it has been reported that the payments are not made on time. Even a program was proposed and passed to provide job opportunities to 3% of the disabled community. It has not yet been implemented. Also, it was announced that a new draft bill to protect the rights of the disabled be presented to the Parliament, but no action has been taken on that as well. I would like to tell that the Sign Language Act must be presented to the Parliament and must be enforced as soon as possible. There is a shortage of devices and equipment used by the disabled community, even though they are exempted from VAT. Please find a solution for that as well. I suggest the government to initiate a special insurance scheme for the disabled community of 1.7 million, as none of the insurance companies in Sri Lanka have any such scheme. The relief granted to the spouses of the disabled soldiers are only provided if the disabled soldier passes away after the age of 50 years. I urge for this circular to be withdrawn immediately.
මේ ස්ථාපනය කරපු චක්‍රලේඛය වහාම ක්‍රියාත්මක වන පරිදි ඉල්ලාස් කරගන්නයි කියලා මම ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා.
Sri Lanka's foreign minister is expected to leave for Saudi Arabia to take part in the special meeting on global collaboration, growth and energy for development in Saudi Arabia next week.
Special meeting of the World Economic Forum is to take place in Saudi Arabia next week. The special meeting on global collaboration, growth and energy for development, scheduled to take place in Riyadh, will help public and private sector leaders address shared global challenges. The special meeting will bring together over 700 leaders from all sectors and industries, enabling a comprehensive dialogue and leveraging a global cooperation for economic development, promoting a global energy transition that underpins sustainable development, and furthering technological advancements, supporting the forum's work to shape a more equitable and resilient global economy. Sri Lankan Foreign Minister Ali Sabri is scheduled to leave for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia to attend the World Economic Forum special meeting in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia from 28th to the 29th of April 2024. During the visit, Foreign Minister Ali Sabri will join as a panelist in 2 sessions, namely Building the Urban Future and North to South, East to West Rebuilding Trust. On the sidelines, the Foreign Minister is expected to have bilateral meetings with his counterparts from a number of countries, including Saudi Arabia, the host country. The minister will also meet the Sri Lankan community in Riyadh and visit the Sri Lankan International School in Riyadh.
The national carriers of Sri Lanka and the Republic of Seychelles have teamed up for a code-share partnership ushering in seamless travel to multiple new destinations.
Sri Lankan Airlines, the national carrier of Sri Lanka, and Air Seychelles, the national airline of the Republic of Seychelles, have embarked on a code-share partnership ushering in seamless travel to multiple new destinations throughout Asia, Africa and Australia for their passengers flying between Colombo and Mahe. For Air Seychelles, over 20 destinations are included in the partnership, which includes much requested destinations such as Sydney and Melbourne in Australia, as well as other popular stops in India, Thailand, Malaysia and Singapore. This new code-share agreement will allow Sri Lankan Airlines and Air Seychelles to place their codes on each other's flights and enable passengers to continue their journey conveniently using a single booking and with their luggage checked in all the way to the final destination. It also means passengers can book their travels with both airlines through online travel agencies as well as with local travel agents.
Sri Lankan 604, wind 220 degrees 17 knots, runway 27 cleared land.
Sri Lankan Airlines has transformed aircraft maintenance with the recent integration of AMOS, a next-generation ERP/OR, enterprise resource planning solution for aircraft engineering, and MRO/OR, maintenance, repair and overhaul management by Swiss AS. By automating the monitoring and coordination of aircraft maintenance with AMOS, Sri Lankan Airlines aims to boost engineering productivity, reduce costs and maintain quality and consistency in MRO operations. The AMOS platform comes with multiple sophisticated features and data visualization functionalities that allow for precise inventory management and cost-effective practices. The AMOS Mobile EXEC software extension additionally empowers engineers and technicians of Sri Lankan Airlines to perform aircraft dispatch functions, request parts, check on fleet status and carry out line and base maintenance tasks through a touch-optimized app, replacing paper-based with a digitalized workflow.
Maldivian Airlines inaugurated its latest flight route connecting Malé, Maldives to the bustling capital of Sri Lanka.
The Banda Naik International Airport on Friday morning welcomed Maldivian Airlines, which started their latest flight route to Colombo, Sri Lanka from Malé, Maldives. Maldivian, the renowned flag carrier of the Maldives, operates 2 weekly flights departing every Thursday and Saturday, providing flexible options for both leisure and business travelers. Launching its operations, the first flight arrived at Banda Naik International Airport on February 25, 2024, with 138 passengers, and the flight was welcomed by a celebratory water cannon salute upon arrival at the Banda Naik International Airport. And the passengers were warmly welcomed with Sri Lanka Tea Board sponsored Ceylon tea gift packs, followed by a traditional Kandyan dance performance. Minister Nimal Siripala De Silva, among other officials, were present.
A wave of pro-Palestinian campus protests is rippling across the US, with hundreds of people arrested at universities throughout the country this week. The World Today has more details.
At New York's Columbia University, the epicenter of the demonstrations, protesting students said they won't disperse until the school agrees to cut ties with Israeli academic institutions and disinvest its funds from entities connected to Israel, among other demands. Protesters at other campuses have similar demands. The campus encampments spreading across the nation have brought together students from a variety of backgrounds, including Palestinians, Arabs, Jews and Muslims, to decry Israel's bombardment of Gaza. The arrests in Austin, Boston and Los Angeles on Wednesday came as students at Harvard University and Brown University on the East Coast also defied threats of action and set up encampments in solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. The movement is calling on universities to cut financial ties to Israel and divest from companies they say are enabling its brutal war in Gaza. At least 34,262 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks on the besieged enclave since October 7th, when fighters from Hamas attacked southern Israel, killing 1,139 people and taking dozens of people captive. White House spokeswoman, meanwhile, said Biden backed free speech. Mass graves found in 2 hospitals in the Gaza Strip containing 392 bodies, including those of women, children and the elderly, showed signs of torture and execution. On the 6th consecutive day of digging up bodies in southern Gaza, Palestinian civil defense officials on Thursday revealed horrifying new details about the new mass graves around the Nasser and Al-Shifa hospitals. 10 of the bodies were found with bound hands, while others still had medical tubes attached to them, indicating they may have been buried alive. Only 65 bodies have been identified by relatives of 392 recovered due to decomposition, mutilation and torture or other difficulties.
Member Sri Lanka A team was selected for the first 2 ODIs against Afghanistan A team.
The Cricket Selection Committee selected a 14-member Sri Lanka A team to take part in the first 2 one-day games of the Afghanistan A team tour of Sri Lanka. The squad was approved by Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs Harin Fernando. Afghanistan A and Sri Lanka A will play 5 one-day matches and 1 4-day game against each other. One-day games will take place on the 28th and 30th April and on the 3rd, 5th and 7th May at the MRICS Hambantota, while the 4-day games will be played from the 11th to 14th May in Colombo.
Trinity College and Nalanda College met at the Nalanda College grounds in Colombo for the Mahela Sangha Challenge Trophy.
The Mahela Sangha Challenge Trophy is organised by the Nalanda College 88 group batch, named after 2 cricketing legends, Mahela Jayawardena and Kumar Sangakkara, who are alumni of these esteemed institutions. The Mahela Sangha Challenge Trophy embodies the spirit of cricket and camaraderie between the 2 schools.
This match started about 4 years ago. I think since then our team has worked very hard to continue with the game. So it is a great honor for Sangha and I to hold this trophy and this competition in our name. From the time we played, there were good matches between Trinity College and Nalanda College. I am happy that this legacy continues.
Trinity College Kandy were invited to bat first and were bowled out for 72 runs. Nalanda College captain Sajid Vithanage bagged 4 wickets. Nalanda College scored 172 runs in the reply innings, and when the match was stopped today, Trinity College playing their second innings had scored 40 runs for no loss. Tomorrow is the final day of the match.
And with that, we wrap up news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.